Good evening and welcome once again to the Magic Attic. I realize that over time I haven't taken time to introduce or explain the Magic Attic, introduce myself and why the Magic Attic is what it is. I'm an educator, and from an early age I performed magic, and my family had a theater in Manhattan. Wound up teaching for many years and am still an educator. In creating the Magic Attic, it was my goal to create a place where people could go to learn about the history of stage and parlor magic. Many of you know that we don't permit advertising here. Generally speaking, we don't take people's performances and put them up here. We're looking for information that helps educate the public about the history of stage and parlor. Very often I'm asked where the things in the Magic Attic came from, and many of them were ones that were purchased for me as gifts in their 60s when I started doing magic. And then when COVID came and I started putting up videos with these effects, many people reached out to me about props that they had that they wanted to know about, in some cases wanted to sell. And a small collection of 30 items has grown to a large number. I don't call it a collection, I call them my props, with the one rule that if I won't use it, I won't buy it. I wanted to talk a little bit about how I find things that may be of interest, and if you have things that you're sending people things to do. My mentor, Jeff McBride, has said to me, when you're performing, and I typically do 45-minute, hour-long shows, you really shouldn't be disappearing behind something or turning your back on the audience. So if you can, have spaces where the props you're going to use are available. And that's led to this large number of tables. As a kid, I have and still have a Homer Hudson rabbit table. Homer Hudson was a great silk screener, and in the 50s, 60s, and early 70s was making these beautiful tables, which you see around here. Some of them are Grant tables, ultimately Mac. So I have a great many tables. Today I received a package, and I wanted to talk about how this happened. The package I received had a pair of Homer Hudson's matching snake charmer and cobra. And you can see I have another cobra and one behind it. But these came with signatures on them, and they were found in a storage locker by a person who is not a magician, and they offered them, and I made an offer and got them. And when shipping tables like these, it's so important to take off the heavy tops and pack them separately, or with packing in between the artwork and the top, because if you don't, when the package gets dropped, if it does, the weight of this will crack the table. And they did such an amazing job, and I would just say this about packing. If you're going to ask someone to ship you something, the item should be packed so securely in the box that it will not move if you shake the box, and with at least 2 inches of padding on each side. So these Homer Hudson tables are now part of my collection. Most interestingly to me, though, they are signed, both of them, and they are in pristine condition. I don't know if the signatures are original, and the rule of thumb with signatures is assume they're not, no matter what certificate comes with them. There was an article about PSA, which is the firm that verifies things, but they get 100,000 requests a year, and they don't have the time to do the work of verifying every signature. Yes, if it's a Babe Ruth, they may take more time, but they compare them to exemplars, meaning known examples at best. I'm showing you pictures of these signatures and hoping if anyone has any correspondence from Homer Hudson among our 3,600 members, please message me privately and send me a picture of it, because I'd like to compare these signatures to those. But until I can prove it, I would just say they're signed Homer Hudson. Whether he signed them, who knows. I'd also like to show you the backs of these. They are in spectacular condition, but one top was replaced. And something you should know if you're putting money into props that are vintage, always smell the wood. The top of one of these, the one that has the embroidery on it, which certainly the snake charmer does, that one is original, no question. But the top of the cobra had been replaced beautifully. It's an exact match, but if I pick up that wood and smell it, you can smell the new paint. So that's sort of a giveaway if you're buying something that is supposed to be old, to find out if it really is. One last tip I'd like to give, because we're an educational site. If there's something that you're having trouble finding, it may show up at an auction, but you have other ways to get hold of it. Again, our site, our group is not for buying and selling. I don't want this to become a big, back and forth business. I want it to be educational. But you can go to sites that do allow buying and selling, put a picture of the item or the catalog picture, and ask if anyone has one. Chances are someone will reach out to you. I've certainly used that as a method of buying. Finally, I'd like to say I welcome posts here that are educational. And if you'd like to share something that gives us some history and background on a prop or a performer, it's very welcome. Stage and parlor magic is what we're about in the history. But again, anything that is not related to education about those things, we won't post here. There are other sites for that. So welcome to the Magic Attic again. I hope this has been worthwhile for you. I'm glad that you're all here, and I look forward to posting more videos and images of the history regarding the history of stage and parlor magic.